All right, we got a lot of things to talk to Shaun about. Obviously, MAC Defensive Player of the Year, but obviously the bowl announcement today, going to the Bahamas. So feel free to fire away.
Shaun, easiest question. What does it mean for you to be named the Max Defensive Player of the Year as part of this team's turnaround this season?
Yeah, not just for myself, but I think it's a culmination of all the hard work, defensively that we put in over the summer, and I make the plays and get all the stats and everything, but you don't see what the D line does for me. You don't see what the back end is doing for me, and those guys are a huge part of my success. So I can't thank them enough for all the success that I've had.
What's better than this, Bahamas or a trophy?
Oh, Bahamas, come on. It's warm weather. We're going to have a blast out there. I'm excited for it. We just got the news this morning, so we're definitely excited for the young guys, too, to experience a bowl game. It's huge for them. And then also for my senior year, all the seniors and everything, it's huge to, go out with the Bahamas.
Do you think much about what could have been or would have been with the fact that you weren't here for a little while and then made the decision to come back and have it turn into this type of a year for the team and for you?
Yeah, not really looking in the past. I'm going to be where my feet are at because I'm grateful for every moment and, the people that I've came across my, career, whether it's at Utah State or coming back, I'm grateful for every moment and every opportunity that shows, a lot of resilience and perseverance I had to go through. But ultimately, I'm happy where I'm at.
Your team has 14, 15 practices between the end of the season and the Bahamas Bowl and the leave for the Bahamas Bowl. What does your team want to accomplish over those next 14, 15 practices, and how is that going to help your program's consistency?
Yeah, I think we're going to come in and with the right mindset, whenever we have practice, because the main thing is to win the game, and we're going to keep that the main thing. But also we're going to get a lot of the young guys in and get them a lot of reps, because that's also important too for their development. And I think Coach Lembo is doing a great job in making sure those guys are getting reps. Those guys are doing the little things right and the fundamentals, to get them to the next level, because that's how you build a championship program, by building up the young guys, and that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do continuing.
Defensive Player of the Year, first, second, third team, all MAC announced the bowl announcement. How excited are you guys right now, and how long do you get to be excited before tomorrow? You got work to do.
Yeah, I think we can, all the guys that were named, on that list, great guys, just good friends of mine, and just honestly, it shows how much hard work that they put in the off season and this season, and for it to get recognized by the MAC and by a lot of the coaches across the league, it's huge, and I'm proud of those guys, and we're going to celebrate it and kind of soak it in and be thankful and have a spirit of gratitude for what we've done. But then there's going to be a moment where it's like, okay, we got one more game to play and we got to finish it off right.
Have you been to the Bahamas before?
No, they went before I got here in 2019, so I'm excited for it.
How do you is your passport?
Oh yeah, I'm good. I got that ready. Don't worry about that. We do a great job in getting passports in the beginning of the season for everybody, so I think we're all set for that.
Yeah, you go down to this tropical climate.
Yeah.
How do you balance work and play there? I mean, it's a lot different than Montgomery.
Yeah, no, I think having the indoor is a lot of benefit for us too. Just being it warm in here, and it's obviously going to be warm down there. So we're just going to take advantage of the practices we have in here, considering we can't go outside, obviously, with the snow. But it's going to be a great environment down there, I already know, and we're just going to enjoy it.
I guess what do you know about this Liberty team? What are some of the early takeaways from getting that announcement of who you're playing?
Yeah, I know they went 8-3 in their overall record. We know they had a game canceled against App State, but they're a good team, and we got to take them, as a challenge, and we got to face that challenge head on, and we just got to go to work and do the film study, kind of break them down and see what their tendencies are and how they operate. So I think we're going to do a good job. Coaching staff's going to do a good job with that, and then also players.
And of course, you probably have bigger things on the horizon, but what would it mean to get, especially yourself and these young guys, a bowl win on your way out the door?
Yeah, I think it's going to mean a lot, especially for this program. It's been a journey for the past 5 years for myself, but also for the guys that have been here and the staff that's been here. So it's going to be a great feeling, going down there, having fun. But at the end of the day, our job is to get the win, and that's what we're ultimately going to prepare for. And it's going to feel amazing, ultimately when we do come away with that win.
Shaun, you got earlier today, you're going to Arkansas
Yeah.
for the World's World Therapy presentation. What does that mean to you to kind of have your journey from walk-on
Yeah.
to have the local guys, to kind of have that honor on a national level, to be a part of
Yeah. I just want to honestly thank the Burlsworth Foundation just for giving me, the recognition, and for giving, all the walk-ons across the country that recognition. It's a huge award for me personally, and it's been a goal of mine ever since I've walked on to the University of Buffalo, to be, even considered for the award. And, to be a finalist for it, it's an honor and blessing. And I'm just excited to go down there and talk with Marty and Vicky Burlsworth and everybody that's a part of that foundation. Thank you, guys.
Let everybody know what's going on.
Sure. Well, it's good to see everybody. Appreciate you coming over to visit with us this morning. And it's been a good week or so since the Kent State win. Really proud of the guys and how they finished and how they came out in that game and took that opponent seriously, had a lot of respect for them. We knew they were going to come in and give us their best shot. I liked how we started the game off offensively and defensively, setting the tone early. And few typical ups and downs throughout the course of the game, but it was one of those rare games for us this season whereby the fourth quarter we were able to get some younger guys in. Some of our seniors who were playing their last home game got to take some meaningful snaps and make some contributions. So it was a really good way to finish, really good vibe in the locker room afterwards, getting that 8th win, which I didn't learn until afterwards is something that's only happened a couple times here at UB. So that was special. We put Vic Snow on scholarship for the spring semester, which was well deserved, and we had some fun with that in the locker room. I think the guys were surprised. Certainly Vic was surprised. So that was a nice way to wrap up that evening as well. It's one of the few times for me that I haven't been working over Thanksgiving, and not that you're ever completely off as a Division I coach, but certainly to have a little bit of time to catch your breath. It's been a long 10 months for the Lembo family. Really a track meet for us with getting hired so late in January, and the job transition, the personal transition, and where our kids are at in their lives. So just to have a couple days to gather and decompress a little bit was nice over Thanksgiving, and watch these other games unfold, which obviously we didn't get the help we needed in the conference to give us a chance to play this week. But as you saw with the news today, we're certainly over the moon about the opportunity to go play in the Bahamas against a great opponent in Liberty, team that's coming off a really fine season themselves, a program that I think is one of the real upper echelon programs in the group of 5, certainly a school that's very, very committed to resourcing football at a very high level. So we got a great matchup. That'll be a huge challenge for us. And when these guys got news of that, they were very excited about it. We've got 2 bowl practices under our belt so far, sort of getting back to basics, like a spring ball type mentality, getting a lot of our younger guys quality work, trying to keep our older guys polished and sharp. And we will slowly start to integrate some game planning for the bowl game. You don't want to do too much too soon because you don't want these practices to get boring and stale. So we'll continue to try to keep it fresh and exciting and throw some different curveballs to our guys as we continue to prepare. But the schedule that we're looking at is basically a combination of practices and weight training and meetings through the end of final exams. The guys will get a little break, be able to spend Christmas with their families, and then come back immediately following Christmas so we could start up game week practices in anticipation of the trip to the Bahamas. So I think it'll lay out quite nicely for everybody and be a really good balance of getting quality work this month along with preparing for a really good opponent. Yesterday was a really big day with signing day, and very excited to bring 18 new players into the program. A lot of these guys we started recruiting just shortly after I got hired, and we began the process of looking at the class of 25 and guys that we thought would be a really good fit here at UB. But the recruiting process is always interesting. It always takes different twists and turns. And even right up until Thanksgiving weekend, we were able to add a couple guys that I think are really gems in the class, and particularly up front on the offensive line, where we feel like we had some really, really good late additions. So that was a big day yesterday. A lot of celebrating going on in the office. Special day for those incoming freshmen and their families. We're expecting 4 or 5 of those guys to enroll early in January, and then the rest of them will all be here after Memorial Day, after they graduate high school, to join us for summer workouts. I know we've got all conference stuff coming out today as well. Be happy to answer any questions that you have about that, but it's always good to see some of our guys recognized for their efforts and their productivity on the field. And I'm a big believer that the more success the team has, the more postseason honors that go along for individual players. And our team, just like celebrating our bowl selection today, is equally happy for those guys that received those postseason honors from the Mid-American Conference. So with that being said, I'll open it up for your questions.
Pete, what does it mean, kind of to be, this team be rewarded with a trip to the Bahamas, and what do you want to accomplish in the next 15 practices, to prepare not just for the bowl game, but for the spring and for the future of this program?
Sure. Well, it's going to be a wonderful trip for our players, for our coaching staff and their families, for our alumni and donors and constituents of the program. I know there'll be a lot of enthusiasm to make that trip and go down there and be around our team for a few days and support our team. And our program, there's just a lot of really good momentum right now internally. Morale is super high in our building, which it really has been all year, and it really never died off even after some of those tough losses we had this year. I mean, the morale of this team has really been the most impressive piece. But I think the energy around the program on campus, with the administration, with our donors, with our alumni, with people here in Western New York, you could just feel that we're moving the needle in the right direction. And that's exactly what we hope to do this first year. And that didn't necessarily mean that we were going to win this many games. And you'd hope that you still had a lot of that positivity around the program, even if we didn't. But certainly winning as many as we have so far, I think, has solidified a lot of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and the plan taking shape, the culture taking root. And I really hope that this is an opportunity for football to become the front porch of this university. And we've got a long, long way to go before we get there, to grow the crowds in the stadium and to grow the donor base around the program and to get more people involved with the program than there are right now. But I don't think you could have asked for a better start. And we'll continue to work really hard this month to outreach and make people feel like they're an important part of what we're doing and where we're going. So I think all of that's really, really positive. In terms of practices, you look at these bowl practices like a mini spring ball. So the last 2 days, the last period of practice, instead of that being a scout exchange period where our ones were going up against the scout team, that period is now a 3 versus 3 team period where they're just running our basic stuff on offense and defense at a good tempo. And that's great film that we're able to now sit down and watch with those guys the next day. And with all those meaningful reps, guys are just going to continue to improve, because there's guys out here right now that are 3s that, coming out of spring practice at the end of April, are going to have to play a lot of meaningful football here for the Bulls in 2025. So to have these opportunities to get these extra practices in, and the extra time in the weight room, and the extra time in the meeting room, it's really special. I mean, you think about the alternative to where these guys right now would just be finishing up the fall semester and totally focused on academics, which they're obviously very focused on anyway, but to have this additional time every week to put in the football, it's a huge advantage for us going forward, and it's obviously something that this team didn't have last December.
What do you know about this Liberty team you're playing?
Quite a bit. Have a lot of respect for their coaching staff and what those guys have been able to accomplish, what they did at Coastal Carolina before moving on to Liberty. We've actually studied some of Liberty's film in the past. Some of the things we do offensively are actually somewhat similar to Liberty. And Liberty's a team that's not afraid to run the quarterback, and that's obviously been something that we've done as well this year. But we'll start to dive into them in a lot more detail here in the next few days. And again, just to reiterate, it's great to now know your opponent and to begin to start studying them, but you don't want to rush too much and get it to a point where your practices become stale because all you're doing is scout team work against an opponent that you have upwards of a month to get ready for. So we'll start to integrate that into our practices in a little bit more of a piecemeal fashion.
Now the team on a team level, you get the 8-3 record, you get the bowl invite, but we see the first, second, third team All-Max, the all-defensive player. Talk to me a little bit about how the buy-in from these players equated to everything from that team success down to those individual accolades we're taking a look at now.
Yeah, they're just a wonderful group of guys, and one of the challenges I think for a football coach in this day and age is that you're trying to develop unselfish young men in a world that is growing ever more selfish. It's almost accepted now that it's okay to be selfish. And these guys are just so refreshing to be around because they put the team first, they put the program first, and they celebrate and enjoy each other's success. And that's really been the case all year. I'm sitting down this week and having postseason meetings with guys, particularly the older guys in the program. And in some cases, those are some difficult conversations. Maybe somebody didn't get a chance to play as much as they would like to because of competition at their position. Maybe somebody just got that much better and earned some of that playing time. There's 116 guys on the roster, and there's 116 different stories about how the season played out for each and every one of those guys. And yet they all can still sit there and take great pride in what this team's accomplished. I think they all feel very much respected by this coaching staff. I think they appreciate the schedule that we've put together for them, the consistency of the schedule. I think their bodies feel good, which is a testament to the strength and conditioning and how we practice and how we emphasize them getting their rest. Knock on wood, our grades have been very good so far this semester, and one nice thing about having this time around them and the continued structure right up through finals is I think, and I always felt this way as a player, that I did better in school when I was in season, when I didn't have a lot of stale time. And to be able to keep these guys on a structured schedule is real important because we need to continue to upward trajectory our academic standing here as well. And that's something that this team began to do in the spring, continued to do in the summer, and hopefully they're on their way to a really nice semester academically right now in the fall as well.
Pete, Tyler Hancock's no longer on staff. Who's going to be overseeing special teams in preparation?
Yeah, so we're going to manage that as a group here over the course of the next month. And obviously that's something that I've been involved with and will continue to be involved with. and I'm really not in a rush to fill that position with bowl prep going on and with the portal opening next week, and the next few weeks are going to be pretty hectic. So we'll just sort of handle that internally for the bowl game, and then as we get closer to the holidays and certainly after the bowl game is over, we'll start to look at that position a little bit more closely.
And just punctuation on the season, what would it mean to grab a W down in the Bahamas? We know you guys are going to have fun, but if your score's more than they are, what does that do for you in this program?
Yeah, no, it would be an absolute exclamation point at the end of what's been a wonderful 10 months for this program. And I know these guys will prepare the right way. I know they'll go down there and be very unified. And yes, we want them to enjoy a memorable trip. But just like we told them going into senior night, what you remember most is how you played in the game. So our job as a staff is to get them as ready as we can make them. And fortunately, we've got plenty of time to do that. Bowl games are a lot like the first game of the season, and it often comes down to the most cohesive team and the team that makes the least amount of mistakes, because you've had so many weeks off from playing a game that things like ball security and tackling and just the fundamentals, the communication, the things that win or lose first games for you are very much applicable to a bowl game.
You talk about having that extra time, that extra month. You had 3 key players, George Wallow, Nick McMillan, Savion Brown, who have been out. Would they be available for the bowl game?
I doubt it. I doubt it. Of those 3 guys, George is the one who's the most ahead in terms of the rehab from his injury. But we're certainly not going to rush him back. We're very excited that he's got another year. And he's been doing a great job with his rehab and progressing and staying in shape. And so if he were to be available closer to that time, we'd certainly take a hard look at that. But we're not going to put him in harm's way and know that he's got an exciting year ahead of him.
And then also, back to your incoming recruiting class, what needs are they going to fill?
Sure.
Short-term and long-term?
Sure. Well, there's really good balance in that freshman class among those 18 guys. There's 2 interior defensive linemen that are both really, really big, strong guys that had outstanding junior and senior years that we hope are physically ahead of where some incoming freshmen might be. And those are some key spots. 3 offensive linemen. One is more of a long tackle who's a developmental guy but really athletic. And then the other 2 guys are pretty far advanced in terms of their physical development. And obviously that's a position that has a ton of learning that goes along with it, so you never know. But it was nice to see us add some quality linemen to the class. A couple guys are still playing. 2 of the guys in Virginia are still involved in the state playoffs, and Bradley, who's a Canadian, but he's down in Tennessee playing at the Baylor School. He'll be playing for a state championship this week. So it's always nice to bring in guys from winning programs that have a lot of leadership in their background. I could tell you this, that our admissions and compliance staffs were very pleased with the strong academic standing of these guys. And that's important here because this is the 36th ranked public school in the country. And we want guys that can come in here and take advantage of the outstanding education and hit the ground running. And the happier they are being here, living here, going to school here, managing their academics, working towards a meaningful degree, the better football players are going to be as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks so much.